Other nations hoped the assembly line could do the same trick for their own prosperity. Italy had only 250,000 cars in the 1920s. But Fiat in Turin was one of the first European car firms to copy Ford. Its large new plant was a wonder of its time, to be admired and recorded. From the factory's floor, spiral concrete ramps led up to a test track on the roof.
Il senatore Agnelli e anche I capi fabbrica, I capi
Senator Agnelli, the plant manager and the production manager at the time, were often in America and were on good terms with Ford.
Per cui quello che succedeva là si
They would try out what they were doing there and, if it was possible, bring it here.
In questo posto. Nel primo tempo era
In the beginning, the assembly line was run by hand, worked by the men.
Poi man mano che si è progredito,
Later, they motorized the line with a chain.
Una linea con una catena.
As in America, the faster the chain pulled the cars and engines along, the faster each man had to work. Giovanni Gobbi was a young supervisor.
Poi un bel momento I miei superiori d'allora mi hanno messo in mano.
One day, my boss put a stopwatch in my hand and said, "Go and time how long it takes to do that job."
Dal fatto di venire a contatto con
One of the first people I had to time was a man who could have been my grandfather.
Ma addirittura mio nonno, coi baffi alla
He had the sort of long Chinese-style moustache people had then. The poor man was working away and I was a young kid having to time him. It was awful. I couldn't do it and asked for a different job.
Steady when they're turning round the corner, in comfort when the roads are badly laid. Speeding along, sweet as a song, come the Fords that have...
Britain had more car workers than any other European country. Ford had had a British factory since 1912.
In the shining beauty all arrayed, speeding along, sweet as a song, come the Fords that have just been made.
But there were still only 1 million cars on British roads by 1929. Morris, the biggest domestic producer, made a film to promote their plant at Cowley, near Oxford.
Hello.
Hello, dear. Had a good day?
Yes, rather. I say, I wish you'd been with me. I've been to Cowley. You know, where they make Morris cars. It's most awfully interesting.
That doesn't sound frightfully amusing to me. Aren't all these motorworks very dirty and noisy and rather dull?
Oh, not at all. Frankly, I've had a very good time.
At the pressed steel factory next to Morris, where they made car bodies, ex-coal miner Hayden Evans had a different view of it all.
My first impression was, what a terrible racket, what a terrible din. Gracious me, how can you possibly stick this? It's a bang, 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 with sounds from everywhere, you know, beating metal. It's hard to describe, very hard to describe. You've got to be in it to appreciate, and yet I ended up on the machines that was making the loudest noise in the motorworks.
Giant presses had replaced the hammers of the early British craftsmen at Vulcan.
One day I was turning these doors over, trip hammering along the door, and I tripped hammered my finger as long, the tip of it off. And I said to there was inspector near me, I said, I think I done something to my finger. And I pulled my glove off, which had cotton gloves, and the top of it was all flattened out. Anyway, I think I had 30 shillings for and I was idle 10 days, and I went back to work.
Morris workers didn't yet have a moving line. Instead, they still moved the cars on themselves. Unlike Americans, who were paid a flat rate per hour, the British had no guaranteed income. They earned on a piecework basis. If they fell behind, they lost pay. If they got ahead, it meant a bonus.
The harder you work, the more money you get. And I was fit and strong and willing, and I wanted to get there where the harder I worked, the more I'd have. I was only there, I only wanted, like other people, I was only there for one purpose, to get the money.